a powerful engine of our economic growth. As president, I understand that true development cannot be achieved unless people who drive that development, our workers, are supported, they are respected, and they are empowered. I understand that the Ghanaian worker does not just want praise on May Day, but he wants action every day on making his conditions better. The Ghanaian worker wants a government that will walk its talk, a government that will stand by you through hardship and prosperity alike. And I'm here to assure you that this government under my leadership is that government you have been waiting for. I've taken note of the issues raised by my brother and comrade Joshua Ansah, General Secretary of the TUC, on the long-standing and inequitable disparity in public service wage structure. And this is the reason why, as part of the Constitution review process, attention will be paid to the establishment of a permanent independent emoluments commission that will determine a fair and equitable public service wage structure, so that we can bridge the unacceptable gap between the conditions of service of Article 71 office holders and other sections of workers within the public sector. And morale in the workplace is more than a matter of salary. It is about dignity, it is about fairness, it is about opportunity and trust. It is about the feeling that your labor is recognized and that your voice is valued and your future is secure. And that's why I'm committed not only to improving conditions of service, but also to restoring hope and confidence in the Ghanaian workforce. My administration will invest in morale-boosting interventions that matter. We'll introduce comprehensive reforms across the public and private sector labor environment by ensuring timely salary payments, modernizing workplace conditions, and reducing the bureaucratic bottlenecks that frustrate your productivity. We'll also prioritize better occupational health and safety policies and ensure timely pension contributions and payments, and eliminate the neglect that many of our retired workers have had to endure for far too long. Every worker deserves to retire with pride and not with anxiety. It is only recently we undertook major reform in our pension administration, introducing different tiers in our pension payment scheme. And yet, as Comrade Joshua Ansah has rightly stated, there are severe distortions and inequality in our pension system.
Sunrise on 3FM.
I will initiate a preliminary discussion with stakeholders through a mutually selected ad hoc committee to make proposals on how the current challenges in the pension system can be addressed. And the organized labor will be fully engaged in this committee. In partnership with labor unions and employers, we will deepen skills development and retraining programs so that workers can adapt to the changing needs of industry. Our well-being and so must our workforce. No Ghanaian will be left behind in the new economy we are building. Comrades and friends, many of you work in state-owned enterprises that have been atrociously managed over the last 8 years. I urge you not to keep quiet. When management is driving your enterprise into ruin, you are always the first to be affected by job losses when these institutions collapse. Your enterprise where you work belongs to you. They guarantee you lifelong employment, and so you must protect those enterprises. When things are going wrong, do not be afraid to say so. And as president, I will back and support you to set things right.
Sunrise on 3FM, the best in the morning.
Today we celebrate the sacrifices of workers in Ghana and around the globe. And we had a conference with SIGA, and we're giving the debt position of state-owned enterprises. And almost all of them are in debt. Even companies like Gihok Distilleries, where when I was president, they used to pay a little dividend to government. Today, they also owe. And the question I ask is, how can you sell alcohol and be in debt? When Ghanaians are happy, we drink alcohol. When we are sad, we drink. When we are not happy, we are not sad, we drink. So how can you sell alcohol and lose?
3FM, the best in the morning.
And so we're charging the management of state-owned enterprises and the workers. Let us work together to make sure that we make these institutions viable, because those institutions belong to all of us.
That's the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, yesterday at the May Day celebrations, urging workers, first of all, that, look, if you see wrong happening somewhere, voice out. I'll support you so that we can set things right. Number two, spoke about pensions, spoke about the wages and the disparities within the wages. But more importantly for me, which has been a subject matter that I've taken key interest in over the last few years, is how our state-owned enterprises continue not to perform, and then you have them receiving all the perks that they are entitled to if they were performing. So, for example, I make an example of Ghana Club 100, and then I ask, how many of our state-owned enterprises are in a Ghana Club 100 first 10? You know, it's a question to ask. Our Ghana Club 100 first 10. Okay, what does it look like? The list from 2024, right? We can take a look at it. Hell, you can help us with that detail. Ghana Club 100 first 10. All right, if you are part of the first 10 and there are 100 people in the class and you're part of the first 10, means actually you are doing something right. You are profitable and all of that. In our circumstance, our state-owned enterprises, how many of them made it to the Ghana Club 100 2024? It's a question that we must ask, right? Ghana Club 100 2024. How many of our Ghanaian-owned companies made it? Helen, what did you find?
Okay, so
Shame me.
So I'm looking at the 2024 list. The 2024 list when it comes to our Ghana Club 100, and this is a list of 100 companies that are doing well in whichever field that it is that they're representing. You've got the first 10. If you would like me to read those out
go ahead,
to
please.
you. All right, you've got Newmont's Ghana Gold.
The essence is to check whether we are doing well or not.
All right. Number 1, Newmont's Ghana Gold Limited, Ahafo South Mine. You've got number 2, Goldfields Ghana Limited. 3, MTN Ghana. 4, Newmont Golden Ridge Limited, Achim Mine. Number 5, GCB Bank PLC.
Okay, so one for us in that, right? Because
Okay.
we
That's
have
number what?
We have shares.
Number 5.
We have shares, collaborating. It's not 100% owned. If you see PLC, and that's what I understanding. Okay, now let's go.
All right. Sunda FM Manufacturing Limited Company.
I'm sorry, I don't get your argument. It's not 100% owned by the state, so
It is not 100% owned. We know
so
it.
the state cannot take glory.
Oh, I'm not saying the states cannot take glory. I'm just saying that.
Part to glory.
Yeah, you take some. The people who are partnering you to will take some.
take some.
But the people who are
relax.
overseeing the interest of the state, we have to
I said
clap for them
first.
too.
I said first 10.
Yeah.
Then you've got in 7th position Ecobank Ghana PLC, Anglo Gold Ashanti, Idua Prem Mine, Unicom Speciality Commodities Limited, and Sanan Asogli Power Ghana Limited Company in 10th position.
Helen, you've never seen that name before.
Which one?
Say it again.
Idua or Sonan.
Sanan Asogli.
Okay.
Yes.
Sonan.
Sanan Asogli.
Asogli.
Yes.
So this is our standing, right?
This is the top 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
if you like drill down further, you will find actually, Koi mama, then Koi papa, and it tells you that we are perhaps not doing something right. You know, the attitude towards work must be spoken of. Let's do it the way we can and leave the rest, and it's okay. Today is Friday.
Is it purely attitude towards work or leadership?
Oh, I'm listing my points.
Okay.
Attitude towards work is there. Aban Juma, right? Some of them too lack the resources to work. All right? And then you have some of them who feel demotivated. Look, today is Friday. Just drive through the ministries, departments, and agencies. And
what are you going to see?
After like 12:31, 1, 2, then call me.
Even nowadays, yesterday was a holiday.
No, I'm just asking. Just take
I'm sure some have not resumed from the
just
holiday.
Go about, looking for some. It's become like identical. It belongs to the state.
A friend with one of the ministries, one of the powerful ministries, mentioned that, and this was the day we had the last day of the fit to start this one.
Yes.
The person mentioned to me that now things have changed at the ministries.
How so?
Particularly that yes, people they have well defined, identified and defined measurable and trackable KPIs that you must meet within certain period. They have appraisals that are conducted. If you fall short of performance, then you are not promoted. I mean, this is what we're having conversations general about productivity, private sector against public sector, and I have never had the benefit of a public sector engagement. So we're having that general
my
conversation.
Father actually
she was saying
warned me.
It is now different.
My father warned me.
He warned you?
Yeah. My father worked within the public space. My mother too. His father too worked within the public space. So there are buildings and stuff that they built around for the state, the SEPS headquarters, many others. I mean, the list is endless. And my father said, look, if you work within the government space and you work too hard, the people who you are making look like they are not working, like the work, they will gang up against you. That's one.
You are innocently going about your work.
You are working. Yours is, you are given a timeline. Sometimes you beat the timeline, blah, blah, blah. And there are too many examples of things that you said, look, you will become a target. That's one. Because we all have to be seen to be at par so that it looks like we are all flowing within a certain, you understand? Don't try and be doing too much. Well, what do you mean?
You are not better than us.
Yes, that's one. Two, there's a lot of tribalism within the public space.
Mom.
You are not, yes, a lot of it. You are not from my place, I'm not from your place.
So we can't work together?
We can work together, but you don't get the juiciest part. My countryman gets the juiciest part. You get the point. That tribal affiliation is there. People get it.
Can I ask which tribe is? It's fine, go on.
No, it's not about a particular tribe. I'm saying that
I was going to ask which tribe is winning, but don't answer.
No, I won't answer. At some point, somebody becomes the head of something, and within that space, it looks out for. There are only a few who, and this is not straight jacket. There are only a few who look out and say, "Oh, Helen is not from my tribe, but Helen is doing very well. Let me bring Helen closer to me."
Right.
Like yesterday, how Mr. Osingame said, "Look, I give people jobs at my consortium or consultancy. I pick them from my classroom at Legon, not because I know them or because they are from my tribe or because I know somebody who knows them. It's because I look at what they have been able to produce on paper, their reasoning, their level of thinking. I say, oh, look, come and work at my place." But
no, in fact, somebody called into the drive, I think way before Easter. Miriam had this question that she asked on the drive show.
Right.
One of I've forgotten the question, but the caller said that the boss, he had to lie to the boss about his tribe before he could get the job. Because the boss had made it expressly clear that if you were from that particular tribe, you wouldn't be given the job.
Yeah.
But the boss was so shocked at his performance that when the boss eventually found out that he was from the taboo tribe, it was too late to do anything. Because the guy had proved himself.
Look, this is, I'm telling you, I said, my father sat me down and said these things to me. And for those who are civil servants or who work within the space, whether security people, whatever it is, if we give them a chance to call into into the show, they will tell you these things are real. Very, 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 very real within the public space. So back in the day, we were looking at the best. We were looking at hunting for the best. And then you find out, people will go to the Legons, the KNUSTs, they will be pushing, job offers to them. The best come, and then they get, in there and all of that. Our former CDS, Brigadier General Nuno, always talks about the fact that he didn't go to the university. He went to the university with O-level. He went into the military O-level and rose to become general and CDS and all of that. He talks about it. Why? Because the quality of work he was doing at the time was appreciated. He didn't need to have it all, but he was delivering on the job. These days, Helen, somebody will say you doesn't know.
Some of this is a revelation to me, for sure.
You don't know. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. Anyway, let's speak with Mr. Seth Abloso. He is a labor consultant. Uncle, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Johnny, and thank you for having me.
And belated Workers' Day to you and your team. This May Day that we celebrate with a parade and all of that, should we do away with it?
No, we shouldn't. It's important that we understand and appreciate the history of May Day. That it came into being and I would say emanates from the struggle of workers in the U.S., in particular in Chicago, in Haymarket Square, in 1886, when they were demonstrating for 8-hour working day, 8-hour working day. And their demonstration turned violent when a bomb was thrown into among the demonstrators. Workers and police officers lost their lives in that demonstration. Subsequently, the 8-hour working day was accepted and it became universal. Now, in recognizing that day, workers rededicate themselves to the ideals of labor and the rights of labor. And then make demands on their employers and their leaders as well. Because not all leaders are leading. In Ghana, we had it first in 1960 under the First Republic.
Right.
When Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was giving a midday award as a worker. And mind you, Nkrumah was a unionist. In times when he was in the U.S. working on ships, he was in the unions. So he was solid supporter of labor. In 1966, he was overthrown. 1966, he was overthrown. 1966, there was no May Day celebration in Ghana. It came on in 1967. That's been then and remains public holiday like in many other countries. So it's important that it is celebrated, and it provides also the opportunity for government and government apparatus to read the barometer on the placards that are presented. People go marching joyously, but every placard carries a message. to employers, to government, and to labor leaders. But yesterday, what we saw for me was disappointing.
Oh, how so?
Oh, Johnny, disappointing because organized labor didn't show that it is organized. That program was an organized labor program. It was presented as if it's a TUC program. But TUC is part of organized labor. And they accept that the Secretary General is the spokesperson for organized labor. But TUC is not organized labor. And it's important that those in the TUC leadership hear this loud and clear and stop misconducting themselves. Because it is also for this reason that in April 2016, there was a court settlement of a matter that the National Federation of Labour took to court to challenge TUC's unilateral decisions in the name of organized labor. And at that time, TUC, the chairperson of the National Labour Commission,
right,
is nominated by organized labor,
right,
and the employers association.
Okay.
For appointment by the president. In the matter that went to court, the TUC had nominated Mr. Edward Brikubodi and gone ahead with the Employers Association to send the nomination to the presidency for appointment as chairperson of the Labour Commission. Ghana Federation of Labour went to court, and there was a settlement that required terms of settlement that required that they should have clearly laid down organogram of organized labor, how decisions are taken, how often they meet, etc., etc. And the TUC, the cost for these preparations was directed that TUC should bear that cost. This is 2025. Organized labor has no organogram. And the Constitution obligates all organizations of such nature and professional organizations to be run along democratic lines. This is not democratic. And we saw that in the last Vox demonstration also against Galamsey.
I see.
During President
Akufo-Addo's time. Yeah.
Akufo-Addo's time. So, for instance, yesterday, you wouldn't identify University Teachers Association of Ghana anywhere, because they will not take, no, I won't use that word. They will not take some of these things. So the TUC leadership needs to sit up. Yesterday, the Secretary General spoke, the chairperson of TUC spoke, and then the Executive Secretary of Forum also spoke. Forum is a member organization of organized labor. And Forum is the third labor center to be established in Ghana. The second labor center to be established in Ghana is the Ghana Federation of Labor. So, if all of them were to speak, why did we not hear from Ghana Federation of Labor also presenting a speech at the parade?
I see. Now let me quickly ask you this. There were demands that were being made of the regime by organized labor, which you say was not organized in the way they went about their things yesterday. They're talking about salary increments. We're talking about discrepancies in the pension, pension benefits, etc. They're also talking about industrialization. We're talking about galamsey and all of that. Let's start from pensions. We know that meetings were held in the past, agreements were reached as to how to harmonize our pension system so that we don't get organized labor asking these questions and making these demands. Were they met? In fact, what happened then? And then you can tell me whether or not we have met those prerequisites.
Whether or not, come again, please.
I'm talking about the demands that organized labor made, and I want to zero in on pensions. I know that in the past, agreements had been reached. A whole team was set up that they should look at pensions so that organized labor doesn't come to complain about pensions again. It does appear from what we saw yesterday and heard yesterday that those things have not been done, or maybe they have been done but have not been implemented. What is the inside story? Do you know?
Those things haven't been done. In fact, the report of the Presidential Commission of Pensions, which was set up in President Kufuor's era under the leadership of Mr. Thomas, Dr. Thomas Anku Bediat, made recommendations which were totally accepted by the President. And there was a white paper on it that included far-reaching restructuring of SNAP. Nothing has been done about that restructuring so far. Nothing whatsoever has been done about that restructuring, even though we have a novel institution, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority.
I see.
But TUC leadership has a problem. Look, the Act 766, the National Pensions Act, requires nomination by organized labor of representatives onto the board of SNAP and the NPRA. My information is that the TUC does nominations without reference to organized labor. And not only did they do nominations, in the last board, they had nominated persons who are unfit to hold public office. 2 persons, and I had reason to petition the Secretary General of TUC to have those persons report. Dr. Yamam did not reply to my memo. What came of that? A lawyer wrote to me asking me to withdraw what he said was defamatory of those 2 persons. I refused and said I stand by every bit of what I have written. And I challenged the lawyer to let us get together and do a verification of the point I have raised. Persons who have been cited for perjury. You see, when labor nominates or appoints persons who have questions to answer, people who are not credible, it's easy to compromise them. And that is the example we saw was in the attempted sale of hotels belonging to Smith.
I hear you.
I
hear you. Now, finally, before I let you go, it does appear that it's become the mainstay of labor to always talk about money, and ask for more money. But do we get value for money in terms of the work that labor gives back to us for all the money we give to them? That's my final question to you, sir.
You see, only recently, June 2020, the report of the Professor Yan Chairman of the Committee of the Movement for Article 1 office holders has reason to urge the Nana Akufo-Addo government to take steps to address the salaries in public sector salaries so that workers will live and work in dignity. Please underline dignity. What did the CUC do about that call? Because as the fancies will say, what did they do about it? Nothing. And what did the President Akufo-Addo also do? Nothing. But what was recommended for the president and others, this. But what was recommended for those they work with in the public service was ignored. And mind you, the president is the number one public servant. So he's also a public servant. So when you are told that there are disparities in salaries and that something must be done urgently so workers live and work in dignity, how come that TUC never said anything about it?
Well, but then if you will, the president, in responding to what organized labor said, assured the workers that, look, if you see something untoward being done, come to me and I will support you. Now, yes. We don't see much of that because you see something wrong, you say something, and then you become a victim of the circumstances. And then you know what happens in there. And so when the president, and that's the basis for me asking you that question, that are we getting value for money if people really are not allowed to work optimally, or people are not allowed to point out things that they think are going wrong that should be right?
You see, again, it becomes a case of pretending to pay workers, and some pretending to work. So we don't get value for money. But you see, there is something that needs to be corrected in this country. People in officialdom always talk about public sector workers' salary taking a large chunk of the national budget. When they say that, it's as if salaries and emoluments of the president, Article 71 office holders and others are not part of the emoluments, but they are. So we have a Fair Wages and Salaries Commission in this country. To what extent has it worked towards establishing fair wages and salaries in industry? And to that extent, it must act almost like a referee to deal with disputes among labor and employers.
Right. Ms. Abloso.
Is it doing that? It's not.
Ms. Abloso, I want to thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful that you could join us this morning on Sunrise.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. That's Mr. Seth Abloso. He is a labor consultant joining us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Next is a conversation